Chris and Sarah here with your home buying journey, and today is all about closing costs. And a lot of folks get nervous about that, right? Because there's the down payment and then there are closing costs. So let's talk a little bit about those costs. If you've come into my office, we've broken those out very, very detailed. If you haven't done that yet though, essentially it's a village that it takes to close on a loan. And so you're gonna need things like title insurance, you're gonna need homeowner's insurance, an appraiser, paying some taxes, and a couple other different factors that come into play. So what happens is we make sure that anything that's required for the loan that we've given you quotes on up front, and best estimates. Depending on the property that you're buying, those things can change, and you're gonna be shopping out like your own homeowner's insurance policy, so forth. But we wanna make sure that you know up front, with down payment, closing costs, and all those pieces coming together, what are you then expected to pay at closing?
Awesome. So yeah, that's a very important piece. And then the question I get asked is, well, what do I have to pay outside of closing? So your closing costs and your down payment will be paid at close of escrow with the title company. But during the loan or the escrow process, there are some fees that you will need outside of that. And those are mostly taken care of during our inspection period. And so for example, those could be any inspections that you order, you'll be responsible for those. That can look like a home inspection, a roof inspection, an HVAC inspection, plumbing inspection, and we kind of work together to decide what inspections we need. And we also work together to minimize those costs during the inspection period. So there are a few costs that will be needed during that due diligence period to find out if this is the perfect home for you and there aren't any big red flags that jump up on the property. And I kind of help guide you along the way during that inspection period, but those costs are outside of escrow.
And it's also important to know that while you are required to come up with your down payment, the seller can contribute to closing costs. So depending on your need and strategy and condition of the home, those are things that between the team here, Sarah can work with you on and can work to potentially negotiate that should you need it.
Yes, I had a first-time home buyer recently who had a very small amount of money for their down payment, and if they had to pay all of their closing costs, it would have took up their whole entire savings. It was a very young couple. And so my goal is to minimize all of those costs as much as I can and ask and fight for closing costs if I can on the contract so that the seller can help pay for those costs so they don't have to come out of pocket as much during or at closing. So it's all a strategy. We all do this together, and we just kind of always try to find out what's best for you and work together.
Absolutely. So don't be nervous about them. Don't be scared about them. Let's connect and we'll make sure that you're prepared.